What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your man of fire himself, Halfpint, once again, and today, oh my god, today we are releasing the longly awaited video of the collaboration between me and TheGamerTron. We recorded this about 3 months ago, and we were meaning to get it out like 3 months ago, but I was just sitting on it because between all the work I had coming up, just procrastination, and a laundry list of other things, like it took me way too long to get this video out, and I should have just brought it out. And so today I finally started editing it, and I was just thinking to myself, why am I going to spend hours editing this hour-long footage of video for it to get like a couple hundred views at this point, if even that? So I'm like, you know what, let me just release the fully unedited version, just get it out there. So we finally have the video out. I want to thank you guys for your patience. I want to thank TheGamerTron for his patience on just how long it's been to get this video out, which it should have been out by now. So anyway, sorry, I'm just repeating myself at this point. So without further ado, here's the video. Enjoy. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your man of fire himself, Halfpint, once again, and today I'm joined by our special guest, TheGamerTronShow himself. Gamertron, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hey, hi, how you doing? This is TheGamerTron, and welcome back to TheGamerTronShow. Well, except not really my show, it's his show, but I'm the superior YouTuber, so it might as well be my show.
Oh, that's how we're going to be starting this. Alright, that's fair. So today we're going to be doing our very own collaborative tier list, but instead of just doing Subverse, we're like, okay, let's expand upon the idea. Let's add more to it. And we decided we're going to be doing our favorite games tier list. But what kind of tier list would it be if we didn't have some sort of disagreement? So, we took the time. We were very careful. We didn't go in-depth between conversations, but we went in-depth. Which games are we going to talk about and how are we going to talk about them? And this is the list that we got for, well, the one I want to show for you guys. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you do enjoy the video, be sure to hit the like button down below and subscribe if you haven't joined already. We're just under the 10K sub club. Appreciate you guys hit that button. So, without further ado, let's get into this tier list. So,
man, you are a master bullshitter. Well done.
At its finest. At its finest. Alright, so let's go and get started with this. And first of all, Subverse. Is there any debate where Subverse goes?
F tier.
F tier? Straight up F tier. I would have to disagree on that. I'm a wholesome man.
S tier. S tier. We all know it's F.
There we go.
We all know.
I am a wholesome man.
You didn't even need to say anything. You could have just thrown it up on S tier and we could have moved on. Everybody knows it's S tier.
This is fair. This is fair. And we're going to move on. And I went ahead and added XCOM to it just because XCOM has huge roots for, I wouldn't say huge roots, but I mean the gameplay from what we've seen and heard looks a lot like XCOM. I've had a lot of fun. I've played both the recent remake and then the sequel to the remake. And I think they're both great. Have you played any of the XCOM games before?
Repulsed by turn-based combat, so no.
Oh no, that's a problem. Okay. Well,
no seriousness. If I put on my objective skeptic hat for a moment here, I can admit that the XCOM games do have a very positive legacy on the video game industry as a whole. They are very dynamic and well-made games, jam-packed with content and a lot of replayability. I may not like turn-based combat, but going on what the video game community thinks of the XCOM games, they are definitely objectively quality games with a lot to offer.
Sure. I like that a lot. I guess I'm going to have more of a factor weigh on this one since you haven't really played too much of the games, but I could say this much. The games are great because being able to customize your roster is fantastic and one of the best aspects of the game. However, that being said, this game does have a lot of DLC, and it can have a little bit of wear and tear on the players with the amount they have for the DLC, especially the most recent one, which I think when it first came out was like $60 fucking for it, the expansion. I'm like, seriously? That ain't worth it. And on top of that, the game is not well polished. There are a lot of times where the game will just sit there and pause on decisions, and there are times where if you download certain DLCs but not other DLCs, when you try to launch in the game, PC or console, it'll just not launch. It just won't happen. And so I had to talk with representative of Microsoft. They're like, okay, we'll refund you the DLC because you can't play it. Long story short, what I'm saying is, game needs more polish. It has its fair set of problems. So, although the game is fantastic, I have to lower it. It can't be an S tier. I would have to say an A tier. Do you think that's fair?
So what you're telling me is, you need to purchase the DLC in order to properly play the game. It kind of like strong arms you into purchasing the DLC.
Not exactly. If you wanted to expand the experience, it is a brand new experience for the DLCs. They're totally separate, totally different. But if you want to get into those experiences, they're a pretty high price, and there's a frequent amount of DLCs, and you can tell a lot of the 2K publisher influences inside of there. And I think the prices way outweigh the DLC experiences, especially for a lot of the lack of polish we got in some of the default game.
Okay, but let me ask you this. Is this exclusive to XCOM 2 and Enemy Unknown, or is this something that's happened throughout the franchise?
I don't know. Well, not the early games. The early games were like 90s games. I don't know if they had any DLC at all. The first reboot, I'm not sure if they had any DLC. They might have. I never looked into that. This was strongly for XCOM 2, so that's a good question.
I'm just saying, like, I get your opinion on XCOM 2, but if we're looking at the XCOM franchise as a whole, okay, maybe A tier. Like, if we look at the franchise as a whole, A tier makes sense. Like, you consider all of its issues, all of its benefits. So, like just a few things holding it back from S tier. So, you know what? Yeah, I can agree with you. I can agree with A tier. The DLC practices for XCOM 2 do sound a bit egregious, but considering the whole franchise, A tier would make sense.
That's fair. So it seems as if a lot of the problems became with the XCOM 2 DLC, but if we're looking at the franchise as a whole when it comes to 90s games and when the reboot first started, before XCOM 2, it was all pretty well and good. Overall, it is a pretty good franchise. I've got to say that much. It's almost S tier, but its most recent practices and lack of polish in its most recent game do hold it back from that S tier. Alright, so, next game. BioShock, and this is the whole franchise of BioShock. I want to hear your opinion first on this.
Okay, well, I adore BioShock. It's one of my favorite franchises. I love BioShock 1 for its story and gameplay and atmosphere. I love BioShock 2, again, for the gameplay and atmosphere, not so much the story. There are elements of the story that I really do like. I still believe BioShock 2 to be a very quality game. And its DLC, Minerva's Den, oh, excellent. But then we come to Infinite. And Infinite is such a mixed bag because there's still a debate going on the internet to this day. Still a debate, still arguing going on whether BioShock Infinite even counts as a BioShock game because for as many similarities as it has some radical changes and differences as well. So, like if it was just BioShock and BioShock 2, I'd say S tier. But with Infinite, I know for the people that love Infinite, this is easy S tier, but I'm mixed on Infinite because there's stuff I really like about Infinite and stuff I'm like, why is this even called BioShock? You know? But that's not really an objective criticism now, is it? If we just go pure quality, if we just go by a pure quality standard, I'd say BioShock is S tier. Like, you can't... There's some of the best single-player experiences out there, so despite my issues with Infinite, yeah, I'd say because of BioShock 1 and 2, and even BioShock Infinite, like, its quality, what it gets right, it does get right really well, so I'd say S tier for BioShock for me.
Sure. And I'm going to completely alter this and turn this situation on its head with my opinion.
Oh?
I thoroughly enjoyed BioShock 1 and 2, but I really fell in love with the series with Infinite. But here's the problem.
Oh.
I started the series with Infinite. Yeah, I'm one of those guys. You can be angry. And
Shit.
anyone in the comment section can be angry if they want. But hey, it got me into the franchise. At least I got into BioShock, but it was late. I think Infinite's great for what it is. And yes, I agree. It is very different from BioShock 1 and 2. And I see people's frustration with that. But for what Infinite is, I'm glad the game at least came out, because I enjoy it thoroughly, and I wish there was more to it. I heard at some point in time development they were trying PvP, and it didn't pan out at all, and I thought that would have been cool, but I guess, you know, it didn't happen, so you can't really discuss that. BioShock 1 and 2, though, the gameplay has aged perfectly with BioShock 1 and 2. However, I have a difficult time going back with those games, because minus the gameplay, I feel like other aspects of it haven't aged so well. So with BioShock 1, you have the story, which is, it's timeless. It almost set like a gaming standard story-wise for the gaming industry from that point on. You know, hey, don't be afraid to have a twist when it comes to single-player games.
Or,
like,
or of course, don't be afraid to like mostly tell your story through the world building, through the environment.
Yes, yeah, exactly. You don't have to always like turn the camera to a certain position. But I think it loses its charm after a while. After like the second or third playthrough, I haven't been able to beat the game a second time because I haven't had enough interest to keep me driving. And more so on the second game, I just haven't had enough pulling me saying, "Hey, I want to beat this game again." I did, I think, a perfect run on the first game, saving all the children, and I haven't done the other way ever since. But, I mean, it has its reasons. So, other than that, with polish, with great gameplay, I think it does deserve S tier.
Yeah, I can agree. I can agree with BioShock with S tier. It's just Infinite. Infinite's the real stickler here. Like, I understand why people love it, and I understand why people don't love it as much. Like, ugh. It's really weird, because, like, Elizabeth, she's a fantastic character, but the gameplay is such a change. Like, it's so much more linear and first-person shooter focused than the more, what would you call it? RPG sim? Life sim, whatever you like, the sim games, like not sim as in not sim as in the EA sim. I'm talking about the RPG sims like System Shock, That is what I'm getting at. Those kinds of games.
I gotcha. Oh no, System Shock's gonna be a conversation for its own day. Let's not get too deep into that before everyone's like, System Shock reboot. No.
Oh.
All right. So up next we have Elder Scrolls, and you would think this would be easy, but no, because Skyrim was hailed as like this brilliant, perfect game. We need more like them, and then they started re-releasing it over and over and over, which, okay, that's not much of a problem. But then we had Elder Scrolls Online, and for those of you who do not remember, Elder Scrolls had one of the worst launches of any MMO I have ever seen. Not only was it a buggy mess and you could barely even play with other people, so what's the point of an MMO? You had to pay $60 for a game, and there was a required subscription at the time, and it was a fairly hefty subscription. So you had to pay, what was it, like $90 or $100 just to start playing the game. And with the other Elder Scrolls games, like the first ones, I've heard like the first two were, what was it? The first one was like okay, and the second one was hailed a lot because it had the entire Tamriel map, and then Morrowind, people love that, and Oblivion is an amazing game. So I don't know about Elder Scrolls. I need your opinion on this. It's a mixed bag.
Here's the thing, but it is a mixed bag for sure, but here's the thing, I have a very biased opinion because I love Skyrim, I adore Skyrim. I actually don't like Oblivion and Morrowind. I've played both, the gameplay's not for me. I find it very stiff, very clunky, like Skyrim is stiff and clunky, but so much smoother in comparison to Oblivion and Morrowind, so ugh. Like, I'm heavily biased. I adore Skyrim, but I don't like the older games, but
Hey, you can be biased. This is our list. This isn't the top.
I get it. I get it. But I want to try and be fair. I want to try and be fair to the viewers because here's the thing: Elder Scrolls is such an influential series to the video game industry as a whole, with their open worlds and their quest design. Oh, jeez, tough one. I think their bugs and their technical issues and their shortcomings. I don't think Elder Scrolls can go in S tier. I think that's giving it too much credit.
Yeah, it just can't. It can't.
It does deserve recognition for what it's accomplished, what like the fantasies it can bring to life, like the unique scenarios, the unique gameplay and story scenarios. But again, to be objective, God, the fucking bugs and glitches. I understand it, like the Bethesda charm and whatnot, but still.
It wears off that real quick, doesn't it? It's like, I still adore Skyrim. I still go back to it. I still mod the shit out of it. Which, thank you for being like the first game for consoles to mod. I guess Fallout 4 was.
Is that even something we consider, though? Do we even consider mods? Because are we getting rose-tinted glasses of the Elder Scrolls games because of their modding scene?
It has impacted the modding scene as a whole. And again, remember, it was the first console game. Well, no, Fallout was. But, again, Bethesda was the first console game to allow mods for everyone to access. But that aside, do you remember hearing about the DLC horse armor from Oblivion? That was a big outcry.
Yeah, that affected the video game industry in very negative ways, so...
And both of us have both played Morrowind and Oblivion, and we don't much care for the gameplay. Now, granted,
I understand why people enjoy that old RPG feeling though, and their style of storytelling. Like, I get that, I get why they like that, but I'm a gameplay guy. Gameplay is made for me, and I can't stand the combat in those games. So, shit. I think, would B tier be fair?
Yes, because the amount of controversies that Bethesda has done, especially most recently. And I'm not talking about their other shit. I'm just talking about Elder Scrolls, specifically Elder Scrolls, what they've done with Elder Scrolls. I would say, yeah, B would be appropriate, just because of most recent actions. Pay forward mods in Skyrim after they were there for years, really? And some of the aggressive DLCs, like, I could feel Bethesda, like, pushing with the game. And Skyrim was a master charm. But we had plenty of problems with Elder Scrolls.
So can we agree that the Elder Scrolls games, like, they're good games, they're very charming and fun games, but Bethesda, the publisher, like, too much meddling?
Yes, indeed. I would have to say so. And that's why I say B tier would, in fact, be appropriate for the Elder Scrolls.
All right.
We're going to do a lot of editing. Holy shit, we're droning on a lot. All right.
Well, we should have expected this.
This is fine. I'll have plenty of time to edit after that doc is out on Sunday, so this is completely okay. Mortal Kombat. This is going to be a quick one. I don't play much Mortal Kombat. I suck at these games. Straight up. I've gotten better at them because I practiced them, but I had someone who frequently came to my house and was just like an asshole every time he played this game. So I have like a bad perception of Mortal Kombat in general. What about you?
So this falls on me. This falls on me then. Well, for me, Mortal Kombat, like the fatalities, that their gore, their violence, it's one of a kind. It's a spectacle. When it comes to the actual fighting mechanics, they're very deep, in-depth games that there's a lot of replayability, especially with all the different characters and mastering all their move sets and whatnot. And Mortal Kombat, with the recent games, they have really stepped up the bar in terms of single-player story campaigns for fighting games. I think the two most recent games, X and 11, I think their DLC and their microtransactions are a bit scummy, and I think that lowers the games. But just overall, like the entire franchise, I haven't played every single game in the franchise. I've played mostly the new ones and a few of the older ones.
Right.
But I'd have to say, like, for the sake of the legacy that Mortal Kombat has had at the game industry, despite all of its failings and its missteps, they're still fun, silly, bloody games, and I'd say, like, again, their influence on the industry and just the overall fun factor when you're not playing with assholes like your experience that you've had. I'd say Mortal Kombat's A tier.
You think it's A tier? Okay, let me put a little bit some objective stuff in here real quick. So Mortal Kombat 10 had a problem with microtransactions. I feel like with Mortal Kombat 11, they pushed it even further after people address that. And I think that's a huge factor, and that really does need to be addressed, because people talked about this, said they didn't want this, and they got worse with it. Also, you covered up the cleavage! Why? That's a problem.
We want to get we want to get into politics and censorship. Okay.
Yeah.
I understand that perspective.
Also, let's also be fair here. Multiplayer in general, okay? And I'm not just saying this because I'm not the best at the game. I'm not like terrible at the game. I'm just not the best. But let's be fair here. Multiplayer is very hit or miss. You could verse like some fucking champion that knows frame by frame of the game, or you could verse some absolute noob that quits like halfway through, and the only way they know how to play is to sit and spam you in a fucking corner. And that can kind of ruin the experience for multiplayer. But outside of multiplayer, the game feels very nice, you know, learning the different characters and how they work, like you were talking about earlier.
Okay. Now that I think about it, like, again, there's been over 11 Mortal Kombat games, and not all of them have been good. There have been some stinkers, so...
Indeed.
You know what? Maybe I'm being too biased here, so, like, to be fair, okay. Like, despite all the qualities and all the awesome shit and the positive influence that Mortal Kombat has had in the industry,
you need to remember, we have A through F. So C...
Exactly.
C's not like the worst thing ever. D is getting pretty bad, and F is terrible. So don't be afraid to go a little bit lower with your... Don't be like, you know, these are all of our favorite games. All of these are some of our favorite games in general.
Okay, you know what? C makes sense. Mortal Kombat and C, like, there's just...
Thanks, C.
There's just so many fuck-ups throughout the series.
That's
Like,
fair.
I'd argue there's more good games than bad games, but they've made quite a few fuck-ups. Mortal Kombat's still awesome, but, lot of shit gone on in that series.
We will give you credit. You were the bastards that gave us the ESRB. Whatever that means. Whatever that's for. Alright, next one. Monster Hunter World. S rank.
Well, Monster Hunter in general.
Oh, I'm sorry. That forced a habit just like comes out of the tongue just because I've been playing so much
No
recently.
problem, no
Monster
problem.
Hunter. S. General. No discussion. S rank. Moving on. Next one. Resident Evil.
Okay, then. Resident Evil. Okay. Ooh.
So
There's much of a
let's start this...
I don't think there's much of a conversation to be had here. Like, despite the community's disagreements with 5 and 6, but despite the community's disagreements with 5 and 6, like, Resident Evil's beloved. Like, a majority of the games are classic, and the two latest ones, 7 and Resident Evil 2 remake, like I'm thinking that's easy S tier. You object?
I do.
Oh.
Here's my reasoning. The games have been great, and they have been almost revolutionary. Almost. They're pretty close. They're really good games, and it's been a well-hailed series. And especially with Resident Evil 7 and the Resident Evil 2 remake. It's like a landmark of Capcom's coming back, as well with Devil May Cry 5. It's fantastic. However, you cannot overlook 5 and 6. Those were monumental, especially 6. Especially after I just recently played that for a stream with my buddy. There are so many things they overlooked. Like, how did the game end up like this in the first place? Like, at some point in time, going halfway through, no one was like, this is not that interesting, guys. Or that this is different. Like, at some point in time, they lost the feeling of, we're navigating away from where the series used to be, you know, its original horror roots. Now, we can't deny 1 and 2 were huge, revolutionary games. They're fucking huge. Almost started a genre. What about 3 and 4? I don't know much about 3 and 4. No, I know about...
Well, 3 and 4. Well, 3, like, it was basically more of 2 with the twist of the Nemesis character chasing you throughout the level, and there was a lot of interesting little redesigns and story choices and whatnot. Resident Evil 3 is a good game. The fans really love it. Some people, for a lot of Resident Evil fans, it's their favorite game in the series. Oh, and made people fall in love with Jill Valentine, the character, even more. Resident Evil 4, of course, with Leon Candy and the switch to the third-person over-the-shoulder view. Yeah, I personally have not played Resident Evil 4, but all of my friends have played Resident Evil 4, and they adore that game. Like most Resident Evil fans, like, that's one of their favorites, if not their favorite. So,
wait, isn't that the
again,
one
like,
where you're playing as Leon, escorting the president's daughter in that game, aren't you?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was a huge game from what I've heard. I have to put this. Because this is my tier list, I'm putting this in here. Since you motherfuckers like to... Let me rephrase that. Let's make that a little bit more YouTube friendly.
Leave that in. Please don't cut that.
Because you guys like to demonetize gameplay because you think it's your E3 trailer, you will get docked points for that. This will not achieve S rank just for that sheer fact.
Oh, really, dude? Are you sure about that?
Well, I mean, already was gonna...
want a dock point?
I already didn't think it was gonna get S tier just because of the direction of 5 and 6. Like, Resident Evil goes high.
Bad games, though. Like 5 and 6 aren't bad games. Like, they take a different direction, sure, but like as action games, they're all right. They're fine action games.
You don't think 6 is a bad game? I think it's so bad. It's what makes it good.
I'd argue there's enough like level variety, enemy variety, depth to the melee combat. Surprisingly, like you can pull up some really cool action there. I'd recommend watching YouTuber Racifix's video on Resident Evil 6.
I have, yeah. Like, I've followed him from the start. I love his channel and his content. He put it perfectly, in my opinion. But here's what I gotta say overall on Resident Evil, and this is my opinion on this. I think Resident Evil is a great franchise, and it's had some stumps in the road, and it's beginning to recover, and it's on that phase, and I hope it keeps going. But we can't neglect that. I feel like S tier is like that perfect tier. You gotta earn perfect. So I feel like Resident Evil should go high. I don't think it should be in that perfect range, though.
Ooh.
And that's what has me. That's what has me. What do you think, though? What do you think? Objectively, looking at this without the rose-tinted glasses, do you still think it should be Edge?
Oh, fuck. I've been thinking of the mainline franchise, but if we look at some of the spin-off games,
Oh no.
if we had like what was that? Raccoon Ops or Black Ops, whatever it was called, like that
Raccoon
tactical
City?
like there was Raccoon City, but there was another game. It was like a third-person tactical shooter. What the fuck was the name of that game?
Oh no! Oh, like Umbrella Corps or something like that. Oh no, that was like
Umbrella
a 2 out of 10.
Umbrella Corps. That's the one. Yeah, you know what? I like with those shit games. Like, you know what? I can agree. A tier, Resident Evil A tier, just for like some of the bad games in the like. Because I was only thinking for the mainline games. I didn't even consider the spin-offs. If we
I
consider
forgot
some
about
of the bad,
those too. I'm surprised you
Yeah,
put that A tier. But oh.
good games outweigh the bad, but because of the bad games, A tier seems appropriate. Like, yeah, you're right. S tier for perfect games, or games near perfect. So I think for the franchises I should say that are near perfect. So
Just
you know
because-
what? Resident Evil A tier, I think that's fair.
Yeah, okay, yeah. You know what? That's fair. I was about to put it in B, but you know what? Just because of Capcom's awesome recovery recently, and they seem to keep it going, I'm excited for Resident Evil in the future now, and that's great. And I think it goes from a B to an A. That's reasonable. I think now we found the reason why it should be an A tier. That was tough, though. That was tough.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, man. There's too many too high. I'm trying to, like, spread these apart. Like, we got to get some... Because these are all our favorite games at the end of the day.
Don't worry. Things are going to get interesting. Things are about to get very interesting.
Up next, we have Valve Games. Okay. I'll start
if
this
we
off.
can-
I'll start this off. There's a lot of great games. Portal 1.
Okay.
Portal 2. They're both fantastic. Half-Life 1 was... it's hard to say that was quote-unquote revolutionary, because that came out around the same time as Halo 1. They both had revolutionary aspects, okay? That was like a golden age for FPSs when they were first coming out. Half-Life 2, great. Continue to expand upon it. The fact that you fucking baited people into a cliffhanger, we haven't had one in like a decade, years. We're still waiting on that bullshit. That's a problem right there. Left 4 Dead, another great franchise. This is tough. This is tough. What are you thinking? Let's get your opinion in here. Oh, Dota, the card game. Oh no.
Dota 2.
Oh no, Artifact.
Oh, Artifact. Oh yeah. Oh shit. We gotta count Artifact.
We also have to
Artifact.
count that chess game that just came out too. Did you hear
Too
about
bad.
that? I haven't heard anything about it, so I can't really say anything about that.
I hear it's not bad. I hear it's fine.
Okay.
Okay. I'd argue Half-Life, Portal, Left 4 Dead. Oh, and Team Fortress 2, of course. I'd say S tier. I think the quality of their games and the impact they've had on the industry, it's just too high to not put in S tier. Like, despite some of Valve's blunders and their bizarre decisions, like refusing to count to free, despite that, I just think the quality games, like, they just outweigh anything else.
You know what? I can't disagree. I can't. At the end of the day, yeah, S tier. Just the quality of games have always been up to snuff. Counter-Strike has been a huge thing and still is to this day. Team Fortress 2 is still getting updates to this day. Artifact was a huge misstep, but that's more about the company, and that's rough. That's rough. All right, Halo. Jesus Christ, this one is gonna be rough for me. Oh, I'm gonna.
Yep.
Oh. And I feel like we have the same stance on this. We're both. Do we both have the same opinion
Okay.
when it comes to 343?
Okay. Here, I have no personal experience with free for free. I played Combat Evolved, OG Combat Evolved when it came out on PC, and Halo 2 when it came out on PC. So, if anything, I have more of a grudge against Bungie and Microsoft for refusing to bring Halo free to PC, because I only played Halo Combat Evolved and Halo 2 on PC. And eventually, some of the, like the Halo Wars. I really like Halo Wars. I played Halo Wars when they finally came to PC. So I have a more positive outlook on Halo from what I have played, but like just being objective and absorbing everything from the community, Halo 4 and 5. Like,
I got you.
where
I got
in the hell?
Okay, so Halo 1. fucking masterpiece. You cannot tell me otherwise. Masterpiece.
Yep.
Halo 2,
Yep.
damn near masterpiece. Damn near. Basically, though. Halo 3, another masterpiece. Is a 10 out of 10. You cannot argue with me with that. It added so many things. Forge, theater. The PvP was a perfectly balanced sandbox, which has never happened in most games nowadays. Campaign was fantastic. They finished the fight like they said. Nope. Well, there was kind of a cliffhanger, but that was Bungie. They even said that, hey, this is our final thing. They put a cliffhanger in there. The cliffhanger was, guys, here's cliffhanger, but we're not going to answer it. So everyone was already aware of that crap. So there's nothing wrong with that. ODST, they were kind of forced into that. They had to make a game in a year with the same engine. I understand that. The game was fantastic for what it was. Reach was great. Awesome. Okay, so there's the Bungie games. I won't count the anniversaries. They don't count. Master Chief Collection. What the fuck happened? What happened? Do not launch a game if it's not playable. There are so many problems with the Bungie games that there shouldn't be. Like, the fact that you put these games together, right? And if somehow, by putting the games together, you mess up the game, like, I don't know, playing Halo 1 and fall damage is altered. Like, how does that even happen? How does that happen? Halo 4, everyone's told me the story is pretty good on that, but there's so many problems with that one. When it comes to story, it was okay at best. Multiplayer was pretty bad. Halo 5, I'm not touching Halo 5. It's shit. I could talk about this for like an entire day, so I'm gonna cut myself off there. It's rough. I just want to say Bungie games S tier, but because 343's continued the series, and I don't have a positive outlook when it comes to Infinite, it's gotten pretty low. Halo has had so many low points. It has tainted the series.
So that's the question, isn't it? Like that's the question. Like, oh, and what about Halo Wars? Have you played the Halo Wars games? Do those count?
Yeah. Those are both great. Those are both fantastic. No problems there at all.
And technically, when it 343 had influence on both of them, so like they're not. I would argue they're not all bad.
I mean, 343 didn't have anything to do with the first Halo Wars when it came out.
That's mostly Creative Assembly.
Yeah. Oh man, I missed that fucking studio. I'm so sad they're gone. That aside. Oh, not Creative Assembly. Creative Assembly made the second one. Ensemble Studios made the first one.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't realize. Okay, so here's the thing. Like, how much do Halo 4 and 5 bring down the series? That's the main thing. Because if we just go from mainline series, we look at Halo mainline series, easy S tier. But then we bring in 4 and 5.
It matters a lot.
How much lower?
It was Microsoft's decision to keep going with the series, and we can't deny as much as we want to, these happened. And these do matter. They did happen, and this is the current state of Halo. It's not like this happened. This is its teenage stage. This is right now in Halo stage. It is at an all-time low. It's rough.
I'll leave this up to you. I'll leave this up to you because again, I haven't played 4 and 5 yet. The Master Chief Collection is coming to PC soon. I'm very excited, looking forward to playing those games, but I will leave this one up to you.
Guys, as a huge fan of the Halo series, and a man even working on a documentary coming very soon, stay tuned. Actually, it'd be out by the time I make this video.
Get your timeline straight.
As a huge fan of this series, I gotta go hard on it. And not just because 343. In general, I've always had to go hard on it. And now with 343, it has tamed the series. You can't go back from that. You can't go back. No matter what they do in the future, you can't go back. Therefore, it slips from S rank, and it actually dips down to B rank. I have to be fair. Because the entire thing has changed. The whole thing has changed. It's not the Bungie games anymore. You can't say that. Halo, overall, has hit a B rank because you're fucking aggressive microtransactions in Halo 5. Terrible game. Everything about it.
I will leave that up to you. I maybe we'll revisit this once I play Master Chief Collection on PC. Who knows?
It's been fixed since then. It's taken them years, but Master Chief Collection is going to be great. All right. Call of Duty.
F
Where?
tier.
F
Fucking
tier?
F tier.
F tier?
Call of Duty. Fuck Call of Duty.
Jesus
F tier.
Christ. Doesn't even give Black Ops 1 a chance. Come on, man. What about
I
World at
love
War?
I love Black Ops 1. I love the Modern Warfare series. Like again, I've even liked some of the newer ones. But in this case, Call of Duty gets F tier solely for Activision. Fuck Activision. They've run this series into the fucking ground. The microtransactions, the fucking business models, the DLC, the season passes. They're so fucking anti-consumer.
Because the split with Activision and Bungie, and we've seen just how much Destiny's changed, we know how much Activision has affected this series. It's terrible now. I gotta agree, F tier. It has earned its F tier. You've made it there.
I want to be fair and say, yes, the old school classic Call of Duties, the pre-2014 CODs, pre-2012, because Ghost came out in 2013, and that's when things started to really go downhill. So, basically, back when we had old school Infinity Ward and old school Treyarch, yeah, things were great. OG Black Ops, Modern Warfare, the first free CODs. Like, I get it. The series was
rough.
Once great.
It's so rough now.
It was once great, but Activision has run this series into the fucking ground, and I just want the series gone. I want it to stop.
Agreed. Let's keep going. We gotta catch this up a little bit. Doom. I would think an easy S tier, but what
easy
do you think
S
about,
tier.
What do you think about
easy,
Doom 3?
Absolutely. It deviates from the series, absolutely, but as a horror shooter, like with the rest of the games, they're full-on action shooters, but Doom 3 is more of a horror shooter, and as a horror shooter, I think it's still, like, it does what it does well.
Alright, Destiny. Now we gotta talk about Destiny. I'm a little biased. I'm wearing a Destiny shirt right fucking now.
Okay.
But I can't. I have to be objective about this. I gotta be fair. Destiny has had some huge problems. We cannot deny that. I'll let you go ahead and start this, and I'll go based off that.
Okay. Here's the thing. Like, I never played Destiny 1, but I followed it extensively, and I had a ton of friends who played Destiny 1. And they told me how rough it was, how bleak it was until Taken King. And then I played Destiny 2 when it came to PC. I had a positive outlook, but I understood the veterans' frustrations.
Yeah.
And this is another case of Activision's hand in the cookie jar, and Bungie trying to satisfy them and trying to find a balance between their fans and Activision, and the franchise suffered. And here's the thing: many comebacks as Destiny has made, as many positive things, as many positive contributions and awesome additions it's had, like it's had so many bungles, so many failings and so many mistakes over the years, like. Fuck. Like, I really enjoy Destiny 2. I find it a very fun first-person shooter, but considering all of its failings, all the shit it's gone through, like, I believe, like, it's gonna, like, it would go higher in the tier list, but I'm thinking, like, depending on your decision, C tier or B tier. C tier or B tier.
Okay. Alright, I can work with that.
I think either one is reasonable.
As Destiny becoming like my most recent favorite game of all time, I have to go rough on it, and I 100% agree with everything you said. Destiny 1 was rough from the start. From the very start. It's like, what happened? And the amount of money, and I hate thinking about this, the amount of money I spent on that game just to continue, because I didn't get the game on discount. When Taken King came out, I spent $60. When Rise of Iron came out, I spent another $60. I spent hundreds of dollars in the game. Just to keep going. It's had its problems, but the game, it's had so many comebacks. It's so good now, but just because of the problems, I have to lower it. Although I love this game, it has gone down to the B rank. It would be a C rank, but because of the most recent uprise of them going independent, and we now see their outlook, it's gone from a C to a B. It has earned that B, and that is a fair spot for it to be. Ha, pun intended. Up next, Overwatch. Oh boy. I'll start this one off. I played Overwatch from the start, and I've enjoyed it quite a bit. I didn't play it beta or alpha. I just played because my buddy's like, hey, get Overwatch. I love it. I want to play it. And so we both started playing Overwatch. We enjoyed it quite a bit. It was great when it first started. It had a few problems, but they improved it pretty quickly. What I don't like is how they keep adding stuff. the whole game is different. There's no option to go back to how it used to be. You're stuck with how it is. And right now, the game sucks. You hate one-shots? Too bad. There's a lot of people who will one-shot your ass. You don't like crowd control abilities? Too bad. You're gonna get crowd controlled to the max. And I feel like some of the most recent maps are okay at best. It's rough, dude. It's really rough. Overwatch is, for me, I would say C. Just for how much I play it, it's got to go somewhat high.
Absolutely. I'd absolutely say C. Like,
C?
Okay, I'm going to vent a bit. For like, the reason Overwatch pisses me off is because it has such potential, and there's so much about it that's so good, but Activision Blizzard and their and the atrocious loot box progression system. There's no way to earn anything outside of the loot boxes. You have to go through the loot boxes. You can't just earn in-game currency from just playing the game and leveling up.
The Overwatch League is $5 for a fucking skin. It's egregious.
They're just recolors.
It's so bad. It's like, why? Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Like,
No, hang on.
I'm tempted to put Overwatch in F tier. I'm tempted, but to be fair, because, there is the gameplay and the visuals and like the style and character. And there's effort.
I'm gonna stop you there.
You can tell there's effort.
Because I agree with what you're saying. I keep going with what you're saying, but I would have to say it's not C tier anymore. It is D tier. Reason for that is I forgot. Most recent with the patches, they're literally just doing it for the esports, and they're tuning everything for esports. All the YouTubers have been saying this recently. Even the people from the esports are saying, yeah, they're tuning it for us. And this ruins the experience for everybody. The game is not in a good state. It's just not. And because of the loot boxes, I didn't even factor in the loot boxes. Yeah, it's a D tier. I'm sorry. And I've been hearing a lot of rumors about Overwatch 2, as much of a joke as that sounds. A lot of analysts that have been correct many times before in the past are predicting an Overwatch 2 coming out very soon. I'm worried about that, dude. I'm very worried, even with its potential.
Jesus, just
fuck. It's rough. It's rough. All right, D tier.
Because Overwatch, because the thing is, Overwatch, it could be so good.
It could. It really could.
But its publisher holds it back so much.
That's why I keep playing it. That's why I keep fucking playing it. I'm addicted. All right, Devil May Cry. Have you played Devil May Cry at all?
I love 5. I've played the hell out of 4. Not the biggest fan of 1 and 2. 3 is all right.
Okay, cool. Yeah. That's basically what everyone else will say. Well, everyone else would say 3's amazing. I've played 3. I don't find it. I find it great. I enjoyed it, but I don't find it on this 10 out of 10 tier that people put on the pedestal to be. 2 is honestly rough.
2 is rough. I put 5 honestly on that 10 out of 10 tier. 5 is really good.
Yes.
So that's the thing. Like because of for the cultural importance of and just the overall quality of Devil May Cry 1 and 3 and 4 and 5, I'd think S tier, but 2.
And
how low does 2 take it?
Also, with 1, I don't think 1 has that much replay value. I enjoyed it, but the replay value that people will tell me that has, it kind of lacks nowadays. I mean, sure, it was big back then.
Yeah, I do believe that the sequels do have more replay value.
3 does have replay value, but it's not. It has aged not the best, but it's still very good. Still has a lot of replay value. 4 had its problems. It has plenty of problems. I still think it's great. I love 4. It's one of my favorites. But it does have its problems. I can't deny that. And 5 is perfect. 5 is fucking perfect. But I'll say this for JoJo Wi-Fi. I know he's watching. I'll factor in the fact that Virgil's not in 5. I got you, bro. All right. With that being said, it is well beyond it's well below S tier. Where shall we put this franchise? And giving it tough love. I'm here for the fans, guys. These are all of our favorite games right now. So wherever this goes, it's our favorite game. I would personally have to say... I'm already stopping just before I even fucking say it. Jesus Christ.
B tier? Would B tier be alright? Would B tier be reasonable?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, but I had to stop for a second. I feel B tier. It's gotta be B. Mm-hmm. It's had so many rough patches, and it's got so much potential. I'm gonna get flogged alive.
But just to be clear though, 5 is fucking phenomenal. If you haven't bought and played 5, you should buy and play 5.
Mm-hmm. It's still one of our favorite games, but with tough love, it's B. It's definitely a B. It's earned that. Borderlands. Oh boy.
I don't want to put another game in S tier.
I don't either, but it's like, it's basically there. Jesus Christ, man.
I guess
Pre-sequel's not as bad as people make it out to be either. It's just, I love Borderlands. I had a lot of problems with the first game. Jesus, I'm just now realizing, dude, I'm having a lot of problems with early games. Well, I mean, it's aging. Aging is a factor when it comes to video games. And Borderlands 1 has not aged too well, and a lot of people agree with me on that, too.
I disagree, but that's probably my personal bias speaking. I guess one negative we could say is the excessive DLC.
Yeah, especially for the time if you bought those DLCs with let's not add Randy Pitchford. Let's just keep that sort of business out.
That's a whole separate thing. Okay,
pre-sequel. I enjoyed pre-sequel, but there are so many people who've complained about it that it went so far away from Borderlands 2. I can't neglect them. Although I did enjoy Borderlands pre-sequel a lot, I can see some of their problems with it. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'd say maybe perhaps because of the issues with the prequels and the excessive DLC, maybe that would keep it from S tier.
Indeed. The sandbox in pre-sequel was a little botched. There was a lot of OP stuff in pre-sequel that completely fucked up the sandbox. So yeah, you said A tier. You're thinking?
Yeah, I think A tier. I think A tier's fair.
Borderlands is a great franchise, and I have no doubt with Borderlands 3. Like, just like the first time I've been able to look at a trailer and say, that's an S-rank game right there. It's gonna be a great game, no doubt about that. I feel like Borderlands 3 might bring it up to an S-rank in the future. Far Cry! Oh boy. Let you start.
Go first. You go first. I want to hear what's your take on Far Cry.
I don't think you want that, because I haven't played very much. I started off with Far Cry 3, and Far Cry 3 was great. It was brilliant. I would say 10 out of 10, especially for its time. For Far Cry 3. 4 was like a blatant copy and paste of the formula of Far Cry 3. I feel like they were too scared to do something else. Far Cry 4 was good, but it followed too much in the roots of Far Cry 3. Blood Dragon was great, but it was a spinoff. Let's see. Primal was a joke. And 5, I haven't played 5, but I almoove bought 5. I've heard great things about 5.
I love 5. I adore 5, and that's my thing.
You.
So I love Blood Dragon. I love 5. I'm enjoying New Dawn. Like, I understand people's issues with New Dawn, but I think it's real. It's really good. That's the thing though, because fuck. Weird thing about Far Cry is it's got some really good bits, but also problem with Far Cry, it copy pastes. They copy paste so many assets and mechanics and content game from game. The thing is, they don't innovate that much. That's the big thing about Far Cry. They don't innovate. They take small steps forward game to game. Well, actually, no. They've been taking small steps forward since 3. And they've been changing stuff and reiterating stuff. And Far Cry 2 is a completely different beast. And so is Far Cry 1.
Yeah, they're different games. Like, there are still people who stand by those games and can't stand the new games, including 3. I was about to bring that up, too. So we do have to factor that in. Those are that changed. The franchise has changed a lot. And it's a lot like Call of Duty, but less aggressive when it comes to copying and pasting other games. So I would say Far Cry, it's close, man. I feel like just because the amount of copy and paste, it's not like it's just made its own things. It's had a few good games. 4 was a copy and paste of 3. Blood Dragon was fantastic,
but here's the
especially
thing.
for a spinoff.
4 was still a good game though, even though it
had plenty of problems too, gameplay wise. I would have to say, if we're being fair,
the thing about Far Cry. Yeah, I know, to be fair, but Far Cry is such a messy series. It's such a messy series because and there's also the issue of I argue against the whole repetitive criticism towards games because all games are repetitive.
Yes.
But the thing about Far Cry is again, you are doing a lot of the same activities. Like since free, it's been outposts. Outposts have been the big thing. They've been just doing outposts and there's some really good story missions, but there's also some low effort story missions where there wasn't a lot, not a lot of effort put in, fuck. there's moments in Far Cry that are so good.
I'm gonna be blatant.
The villains are so good, and there's some really good story moments and dark moments, and there's also the customization and variety in the sandbox. Fuck. Ugh.
Let's start here and go from here. C. What do you think about C? That is the middle. That's what I feel about Far Cry. It is middle range when it comes to video games. C tier. It's a great game, but lack of innovation.
Okay. How about I'd say for this tier list, C is fair. On my personal tier list, I'd rank Far Cry higher because I enjoy it so much. But I think for this tier list, based on our compromises, a bit of objectivity and personal opinion, I think C is fair. I think C is fair for Far Cry.
That is fair. I had another game after this, but I guess it's just Hat in Time. Hat in Time! Have you played Hat in Time before?
I haven't, but I've heard everyone loves this game.
Good! S rank. Nothing to it. Nothing to it.
Good to know. Good to know.
If you haven't bought that game at full price, do it now. It's worth every single penny of your wallet. All of it.
I would buy the game, but currently I'm emptying my bank account to pay starving voice actresses, so...
That is fair. That is completely fair. I don't know. You okay with this tier list? You think this is good? Good spot?
I think this is good. I think this is fair. Like, I think if we ever do this again, we could definitely add some more games and maybe add a few more controversial franchises. But I think what we got here, I think this is good. I think that most of these are fair. I think there's decent compromise. There's a bit to be argued for sure, but that's the fun of it all, isn't it?
So here's what I'm going to say here. This is great. Great list. Wonderful list. Wonderful list. What I think, this is like our favorite franchises, especially the ones we like to talk about. And if we do another one in the future, maybe we'll do another list about just different franchises in general. And that would be a lot easier for us to rank in general. These are the ranks of our favorite games. We all had bias with these games, dudes, and so this is what we have. Be sure to let us know what you guys think down below of this list, and if you guys have your own list, go ahead and create it and let me know what you guys think. Also, TheGamerTron, link down below. Check out his channel, absolutely fantastic. The critical guy you want to hear from, putting the gaming industry in its place where it should be. Has more Subverse content just like I do.
Oh, dude, don't lie to your viewers.
I'm doing you a favor. Alright, guys. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you all for watching.
A favor for being here, you little shit.
Excuse me?